Hey everybody, my name is JaLisha and I'm guest hosting for the Chronicles. Today we have Tim Ingram. Hi Tim, how are you feeling today?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for taking the time to co-host for me.
Oh, thanks for having me again. I love your show. So let's get into it, okay? I have a few questions I've been dying to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so as a comic creator, can you tell us about how you got started or what inspired you to begin creating comics in the first place?
Yes, ma'am. I started writing at a young age. It's really been a development.
Hey everybody, my name is JaLisha and I'm guest hosting for the Chronicles. Today we have Tim Ingram. Hi Tim, how are you feeling today?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for taking the time to co-host for me.
Oh, thanks for having me again. I love your show. So let's get into it, okay? I have a few questions I've been dying to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so as a comic creator, can you tell us about how you got started or what inspired you to begin creating comics in the first place?
Yes, ma'am. I started writing at a young age. It's really been a development from poetry to music to story writing into comic books. I was part of a comic book group. Shout out to Clan McDonald, because that Facebook group was a huge inspiration and a huge start to this. I met Malice, who helps do all the online stuff, who put out his book. Random conversation. Hey, dude, your book. Da da da. How'd you do this? That led to me and him talking and finding out we had a lot of stuff in common, and led to me telling him about Hellplayer.
Okay.
Which was actually in development for a comic book company years ago, who was on the back burner. It was something I played with, but I didn't know what I was exactly going to do with it.
So you mentioned Hellplayer. Can you tell us a little bit about Hellplayer? Is this one of your projects? I mean,
Yeah.
what is Hellplayer?
Hellplayer is my comic book. It came out back in end of May, and when this came out, it's pretty much a fun, old school horror story. It's pretty much a girl who has the worst week of her life, gets fed up, and goes on a path of revenge.
For anyone out there listening, everybody who's watching this show right now, make sure you grab a copy of Hellplayer. It is available now, and I already have my autographed signed copy. Get yours. Now, Hellplayer.
Yes.
You mentioned having a company that you publish Hellplayer under.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that company?
That's Villainous Archives. Villainous Archives is owned by Malice. He took a one shot in the dark on somebody he didn't even know in another state, and really aided me. He's been aiding me. He's a huge inspiration to me because of just with his knowledge, and he has his own book out, Malice Chaos Theory issue 1 and 2, and the book itself is phenomenal. I'm the horror writer of the company. He is the urban, pretty much, it's a gang story. It is really New York, inner city New York.
All right, so I can tell that Malice really means a lot to you because, you've mentioned him several times now. And I want to say shout out to Malice. I've seen your video, Trailer Park Mal. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out now. Link is listed below.
The link will definitely be below for that. Shout out to you, Mal. I owe you. Thank you.
So, speaking of people who inspired you, can you tell me who else inspired you along your journey or kind of helped you want to pursue this?
Kevin Smith. I remember one of my favorite comic books was his Marvel Knight storyline. The way he played on religion with Daredevil, and his writing. There's Scott Snyder, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane. A lot of the horror writers. I'm really bad with names though. I am really bad with names.
I have the same issue.
Like some of my favorite comics are 30 Days a Night, some of the darker stuff that you see from X-Force with X-Men, a lot of their grittier stuff.
So you mentioned some of your favorite comics, but what is your most favorite of them all?
Hands down is X-Men.
X-Men, and why?
It's an old school X-Men. When you look at it, it is so reflective of the world that we're in today. The way that Stan Lee really went at and put it out there with racism, how people were treated, and people don't give him his props for that. I think everyone looks at Stan Lee like you're the creator, but when you look at what he was doing for the time, he fought. That's why people love him so much. Black Panther was pushed to the forefront, early Marvel. The X-Men were hated for what they were, and when you look at that, it was really at the time period of what was going on.
When people were really segregating themselves and afraid to accept people for their differences.
And he put out a comic book about a group of people who have powers who are hated, who are heroes, but are still hated. And being a kid growing up, inner city, being picked on and stuff. X-Men was really that book that gravitated me towards that. And the only other book after that, I grew up on G.I. Joe.
Okay.
I hands down grew up on G.I. Joe. My father's military. I remember being a little kid playing with the toys, being handed comic books. So X-Men and G.I. Joe are like hand in hand for me.
Now, back to your first comic book, Hellplayer. Is that the only comic book you have now, or are you working on anything else?
I'm working on a couple different stories. I have a couple more for Villains Archives that are coming out. Mm-hmm. One has a Kickstarter coming soon. I can drop the name. It's Murder Mouse.
Okay.
And that's literally all we can say. The story is really going to be controversial and a little bit taboo. You know parts of it. And I'm not really able to because we're not in production yet. Outside of that, I have a couple ideas that we're kicking around. One book is The Land. It's based here in, all my stuff is local in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, there is more stuff coming.
Okay. And I appreciate you sharing this with us. So for everybody that is listening, make sure you follow him. And can you give them your social media so they can follow you?
Everything will be under Villains Archives, of course. I have a newer Facebook that's coming soon. Mm-hmm. So this way my personal one doesn't get overran, because that's kind of what is happening right now. So Villains Archives would definitely be the best place to find this stuff. That's also the website. You can go there. You can get the comic books. Lost Hope Entertainment, the YouTube channel. So those will be the big ones right now. Till the actual business Facebook is up, I'm not going to disclose my Facebook.
Okay. All right, so you heard the man. Follow everything Tim Ingram. Okay? Make sure you listen and you follow everything Tim Ingram. Turn on the post notifications so that you be the first one to notify when his new books come out. All right, Tim. So thanks for telling us about your social media. Do you have any other aliases that anyone could find you if they're looking for you on?
Yes. Twitch, Instagram, everything is under Just Jump 216.
Now you said Just Jump?
Yes.
All right. So you heard the man. Follow him. Everything. Just Jump 216. Now, it's fun fact time. I love this part. I know this guy, so I know about this, and I'm stoked to share this fun fact with you. Tim is a grand collector of all things, comic books and fantasy knives. Okay, tell us about your collection.
I grew up collecting stuff. We started with toys growing up. You know how it is. You grow up collecting stuff. And from there, I'm just a straight up geek. Mm-hmm. I am a straight up geek. I love collecting my comic books. I'm from a military family, like I said before. My father, I grew up around weapons. Mm-hmm. And with me being the geek that I am, reading the stories that I read, Game of Thrones, all that stuff, it was all around swords. So as soon as I turned 18, you can't buy a gun at the age of 18. I bought a sword. And from there, it just kind of blew up into the collection I have. Comic books and me have been hit and miss. I've had a couple times periods in my life where I got out of them. I was actually out of them for like 10, 15 years. Wow. Then when I got with Baby Doll, she got me back into them with the Marvel Civil War storyline. And I just been going from there. So, I mean, you guys, I know you keep telling me I have a grand collection.
You do? I wish they could see this.
From what I've seen, it's small. I'm on a small scale of what I have. Okay. I've just been really blessed to meet the people that I've met.
Now, I have a question about your collection. Why do you get them? What is this that you put them in?
The grading?
Yes.
Okay, so this is I go through CBC and this is one of them. There's CBCS and there's CGC. It's just two different companies. It's a way to preserve them. That's pretty much what it is. It's a way to preserve them. It helps with the value. It's really hit and miss on people. Some people agree with it. Some people are like, no, comic books are meant to be read. So it really depends on who you're talking to.
Okay. All right, so I have another fun fact I want to share with everybody. So tell me about your mask. How many masks do you own?
For myself, 2.
And do you wear them all the time?
Only when I'm doing promotional work for the comic book or with the show or we're taking photos. It's the only time I'm actually in these.
So what's the inspiration behind your mask?
Old school goth kid being a geek.
Okay.
Let's just break it down to what it is. Right. It's an old school goth kid being a geek. And I just really want to be able to separate myself from my persona, because I see, I want to be able to go out and have fun and walk around and not be recognized.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I, for one, love your mask. Are these available to the public at all?
No. These are all custom for me, and at some point, hopefully when I get into cons, we raise enough money, I do plan to have a latex mask made. It'll be a little bit cooler.
All right. Well, follow everything Tim Ingram on Just Jump 216. It was such a pleasure being on your show today and just getting to know you and sharing some of my favorite fun facts and histories about you to the audience that they may not even have known about you. You're a pretty damn interesting guy for a geek.
Yeah, thank you. We definitely got to get you back on and catch up with you sooner or later.
Absolutely. And for everybody out there, make sure you stay safe and you have fun. I'm your host, JaLisha. Follow me everything at JaLisha Sings. Y'all have a great day.